Good evening and welcome to News Tidbit on Equity Television. I am Hafsat Badiru. The Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi Sule, on a courtesy visit, welcomed the leadership and committee members of the inaugural joint Ramadan lecture organized by the Nasarawa Broadcasting Services, the Nigerian Television Authority, and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, marking the first time the three government-owned media will collaborate on such an event in the state. Zainab Ibrahim reports.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi Sule. Good morning, Your Excellency. Welcome.
The Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, received in his office the leadership and committee members of the maiden MBS, NTA and FRCN joint Ramadan lecture on a courtesy visit. The group was led by the Executive Vice Chairman of the Nasarawa Broadcasting Service, MBS, Malam Awalu Salihu.
We are excited about this visit because what we are trying to do, sir, is this is the first time that the federal and state-owned broadcasting stations are coming together to organize this Ramadan lecture. NTA used to have their own, FRC used to have their own, poor MBS never had any, we only had Musawaga. But this time around we said we don't want to be left behind. And so we agreed to work with them and we formed a committee. And it's this committee that is now organizing this Ramadan lecture statewide for, by the broadcast stations. Unfortunately, some of the private stations could not join us at this time, but I'm sure by the next time when it gets bigger, we'll get them to join us.
The Ramadan Lecture Committee was at the Government House to formally brief and invite the governor to attend the lecture as the special guest of honor at the event.
I also want to thank you for coming together, for this purpose of Ramadan lecture. Indeed, it is better to do it together than, and I'm happy that the EVC has mentioned that next time you're also going to invite the other private stations to join you, so that you will have a much bigger event. When you have a bigger event, you will have a bigger coverage. And then you will have different audience rather than having segmented audience. You now have a very comprehensive audience that you are inviting, for everybody to come and be part of it. So I urge you to do that.
This marks the first time in the state that the three government-owned media organizations, MBS, NTA, and FRCN, will collaborate to organize such an event. From Government House, Lafia, Equity TV.
The controversy over the allegations by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan against Senate President Godswill Akpabio and her suspension from the Red Chamber may linger for a long time. The suspended Kogi senator on Tuesday took her case to a global stage, clamoring for justice. The senator suspended the lawmaker for violation of the Senate rule days after she submitted a petition against Akpabio for sexual assault and other accusations, claims the Senate president has strongly refuted.
I'm not here to bring shame to our country. I'm here to seek help for the women of Nigeria. Again, my name is Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. 5 days ago, on the 6th of March 2025, I was suspended. As a senator, I was suspended illegally because I submitted a petition of sexual harassment against the President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. I thought that by submitting the petition, he would recuse himself, and both of us will submit ourselves to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition for a fair and transparent investigation. But unfortunately, I was silenced and I was suspended.
Meanwhile, the president of the Interparliamentary Union, Tulia Aksin, has assured Senator Natasha that due process will be followed in addressing the concerns surrounding her suspension from the state. Acting's assurance came in response to Natasha's appeal for intervention by the IPU and the United Nations over what she termed as an unjust suspension from the Nigerian Senate. The Dangote Refinery and Petrochemical Company is reportedly importing crude oil from international suppliers as it gradually increases production at its facility. This is in the face of ongoing fresh negotiations of the Naira for Crude agreement with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. The first deal ends on March 31st, 2025. A report by Bloomberg disclosed that the 650,000 barrels per day refinery has recently sourced crude from the United States, Angola, and Algeria, among others. Since the beginning of the month, the Dangote refinery has reportedly received over 3 million barrels of American crude, in addition to shipments from Angola and Algeria. Analysts at Energy Aspect Limited said the crude deliveries to the Dangote refinery have averaged 450,000 barrels per day in the past 2 weeks, up from an estimated 380,000 barrels per day in January and February. That's it on Equity News Tidbits. Join us next time for another episode of the news. I am Hafsat Badiru. Good evening.